Smasher means that he's gonna attack for 10 here. Unless Thomas can remand it, which is probably what he's gonna do here.
I don't see him just not remanding and taking 10 this turn.
Yeah,
It's very unreasonable.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah, and this nice interaction is that normally the Cavern of Souls would prevent the Smasher from getting countered, but
yep,
actually you have to spend the colorless mana of the Cavern, so you can counter the Smasher pretty easily.
yep. Yeah, I was just wondering, does Thomas just want to draw? But yeah, this interaction means that he will actually get to counter it. Another remand is a great draw for Thomas potentially, but problem is that he doesn't have another land, so he's
So this Gidexen probably should be good if he wants to
yeah,
get this game over. Also, Valentin has a Drowner of Hope, which is very good this next turn because it's one of the cards that he can just play uncounterable.
yeah. I mean, he can even play the Smasher uncounterable, right?
No, he actually cannot because he
Oh,
doesn't
he.
have any land that produces.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so Thomas is still missing his third land drop.
Yeah, and since he saw the Drowner, he might consider just like starting Serum Visions.
Yeah, and he also has Faithless Looting. I would just play Faithless Looting instead of the Serum Visions because you
Yeah.
get 2 hits to find the land.
Thomas is considering Noxious revivaling this fetch land here. He might have done it before the Gitaxian probe. This deck is super complicated.
Yeah, I would not want to want to play it.
Looks like Thomas decides to put Mr. Rain first on top. Probably following it up with Serum Visions.
Like
Or looting.
I really hope Thomas gets to go off on camera because I really want to see the deck go off.
Yep.
And what is that? It's
Visions of Beyond.
yeah, that's the card that I guess that's the ancestral recall, right?
Yeah. Thomas decides to hold up remand. That might work for him in case Valentin plays the Smasher, but if he plays a Drowner, then the remand isn't going to be so good.
And I guess if you're a Valentin, you just play Drummer of Hope.
Yeah. Thomas might still cast that remand just to draw a card. Problem with that is that then you're actually
Okay, so
okay, Valentin decides to play the Smasher instead. That worked out great for Thomas. I wonder why he did that. Just because Thomas had 7 cards in his hand, and his deck is full of 1 mana spells, and the fact that he passed means that it's super likely that he has the second copy of Remand.
but the pressure is on Thomas. Like, the 2 minutes are no joke. If Valentin gets to resolve one of those big creatures, it's like super
Thomas
bad
has
for
to,
those.
yeah, okay.
Yep. I guess he should play Paramount Ascension like this turn if he has it, but
He doesn't, but he has a Cryptic Command, which will buy him at least 1 more turn.
okay. So
If
do you
not
just
more.
he just holds up the Cryptic Command. I don't know how
They are
good
not
that works
using
for him.
those life totals though. Can you tell them to do that?
Okay.
Valentin drew another source of colorless mana, so he can actually play this Smasher uncontrollable. Yep, so he will be forced to tap his creatures with Cryptic Command here. Then he can potentially Noxious Revival the Cryptic Command, so that he will have 1 more turn, and hopefully find the combo pieces he needs.
Like, I don't really think that Thomas is going to be winning this game because the combo just takes so much mana.
Okay.
And Peter, would you just revival right now or just wait for his turn?
That's exactly what I'm thinking about right now. I'm actually not sure. I think it's better to wait.
Yeah, to just crack your you can just crack your fetch land, then play the looting, so you can dig deeper in your deck, and before the looting you just put the cryptic on top.
Actually, I wonder. A couple turns ago, Thomas used Noxious Revival, and then he played Visions of Beyond to draw the card. He could have played Looting or Storm Visions instead, and he would still have the Visions that can potentially draw him two more cards as the game progresses.
Like I would play the looting just because you are losing so much value from the Serum Visions because you have to crack your fetch land because you know are playing Remand, but
Yeah. Thomas goes down to 2, which means that any following Probe or Noxious Revival has to be paid for, which isn't a huge thing, but it can certainly matter.
okay, so now Thomas goes for the looting and oh wait, he goes for Serum Visions. Okay. And that's probably the correct one to go for because it just goes one card deeper in our deck.
So yeah, Thomas desperately needs to either win next turn or draw another command or Noxious Revival.
Okay, so there's
Here's the Ascension, that's a good start. But as you said, the combo is super mana intensive. So I'm curious if Thomas is gonna be able to pull this out. Also,
and
the fact that he's on 1 life means that all those dual lands and fetch lands are not gonna be as useful. What did you wanna say?
yeah, probably the same thing as you. Just like it's pretty unlikely that Thomas even can go off next turn, even though he has the Pyromancer Ascension.
All right. Thomas might be in a spot where he needs to play Serum Visions before the Ascension and try to draw into another command, just because he knows that he's not going to be able to kill him next turn. This turn, sorry.
But still, it's just probably better to play looting, right? This turn because then you can. Like,
Yeah, I'm just saying that normally you
yeah.
would play the Ascension first to get a counter
Yeah,
sign,
of course.
but in this case you need a cryptic command, so you just have to play the cantrips first, which is kind of unfortunate for Thomas here. Also, it might be better to play the Vision before the looting because that way you see more cards. If the card that you're looking for is cryptic command. How many copies does he actually play? Let's take a look.
I guess like two.
Yep. So he has one left, as well as some Noxious Revivals, which he has to pay green for. So that isn't an out anymore. Here you can see the power of Eldrazi. Normally you would think that since the Eldrazi deck can't interact with the combo deck, the matchup would be pretty bad for Eldrazi deck. But the fact that they have such a fast mana means that they're just gonna be able to outrace combo decks pretty often. Yeah, I think that Thomas is just drawing dead at this point.
Yeah, that's probably correct.
and that's gonna be for game one. So Valentin Schneider is taking the lead. Looking at the sideboard, we already mentioned that it's gonna get a lot better for the Eldrazi deck, just because they're gonna bring in cards that interact with what Thomas is doing, such as Disenchant, Rest in Peace, Stubborn Denial. Um, Whereas Thomas actually can't change too much, just because his deck is a combo deck, and if you got the pieces that you need, it's just not gonna work. So he might just like bring in some cards to deal with cards like Rest in Peace, but overall it's gonna get a lot worse for Thomas for sure.
Actually, that's not even correct because Thomas has a lot of spice in his sideboard. He has three times Monastery Mentor,
Oh,
so
okay.
he is just doing this transformational thing in his sideboard where he brings out those creatures. And as you see, Thomas played like 5 spells a turn with 5 mana, so Monastery Mentor should be very good. Also, he has 1 Blood Moon in his sideboard, which is obviously pretty great against all those non-basic clans that Eldrazi deck is playing.
Okay.
And he has also 2 timely reinforcements, which I am not sure that they are like super good, but I think you can board those in because the Eldrazi deck just has so much clock that you want to just stave off for like 2 turns, and this card will buy you those 2 turns.
Okay. So you think he's gonna border out the ascendancies or ascensions
No,
or?
no, no. I'm not saying that, but I think some copies of like I don't know. He can board out like 1 lightning bolt or 2 lightning bolts because they don't really kill that much.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the Monastery Mentors post board a lot. That seems like a great plan.
Also, I wonder if Thomas is afraid of those rest in pieces, or I don't know. He could be afraid of relics progenitus, and if he brings in those Werthers in his sideboard.
Yeah. Well, I think that given that he's bringing in the mentors, he won't, because first of all, he will have to take out too many cards. And I don't think he can really afford to do that. Also, he can just beat the Rest in Peace by playing the mentor. So it's not like he's drawing that to that hit card.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption. So I'm pretty sure that Thomas is going to bring in the mentors, and I really want to see how those play out.
Yeah. So
Anyway, what do you think about the deck that Thomas is playing?
well, it's certainly sweet, but I think it's just a little bit underpowered compared to what is happening in Modern at this point. But I would definitely I want to try it in something like FNM or anything like that. It just seems super fun. I just don't think it's a great choice if you want to do well in the tournament. But if your goal is to have fun, seems like a great deck.
And Thomas is even not doing that bad with it. He's playing for the top 8 this round, so
Yep.
it certainly isn't bad. But I agree with what you said, that the deck is just underpowered. Even like those combo decks should be good against Eldrazi, but even this deck, Thomas said to me that this deck is slower than normal Storm, and it can stumble a lot by just not finding the Ascension.
Yep. So it looks like players are gonna decide whether they will mulligan or not. Let's see. I saw Bold Noxious Revival land Timeline Reinforcement. That's a card I wouldn't expect Thomas to bring in, but I guess we will see how good it is. She doesn't seem great against those big creatures. Yes, it will give you some time, but it doesn't actually get you anywhere.
Yeah, I talked about those, and I was not really sure if he would bring those in, but here they are.
Yep. This
Okay,
is pretty good for Thomas because he has
yeah,
two lightning bolts,
and this is
and
the card he wants to see.
yeah,
Like it doesn't matter if it was a Larsen Mimic, it's the same thing, but
yep.
okay, and we see from Valentin he has, I guess, two Sky Spawners. I see a Reality Smasher, and I also see a Stubborn Daniel. But the problem is that Valentin doesn't actually have any real blue mana. He only has the Cavern of the Souls. Okay, and Thomas draws the biggest card in his deck, and
Fire Monster Ascension, and he already has a second bolt in his hand, and a Noxious Revival, so he can make the Ascension active if he wants to. Double Timely Reinforcement actually doesn't work right because the first one is gonna resolve first, and then you're
yeah.
gonna have more creatures and more life than your opponent presumably. So it's not that great as it sounds, but
Okay, here's the blue mana, but it actually doesn't do a whole lot this time because, like, the Thomas's deck is really resilient to counter spells once you land the Pyromancer's Ascension on the board.
yeah, that's true. It's still gonna be good, but it's not gonna be game over or anything like that.
But like, Thomas doesn't have that much. He has the Cryptic Command and Timely Reinforcement, which he can't correctly cast because he doesn't have a white mana or a third land actually.
Yeah. I actually wondered about that. He fetched for an island instead of something like Hollow Fountain.
Oh,
Uh,
I don't really like that.
yep, me neither.
Like, it seems that he has a lot of white cards after sideboard, so I don't really understand why he wouldn't want the Hellway Fountain.
Yeah, Thomas is getting punished for not searching that Hollow Fountain. Time Reinforcement would be great this turn, but as it stands, he can't even cast it. I think it's actually kind of close whether you want to kill the Scion or the Sky Spawner. He decides to kill the Scion, which I agree with,
Yeah, I actually think
just
that's
because the
correct.
1 mana is more important than 1 more power at this point.
And what is Thomas probably thinking that if Valentin wants to play Reality Smasher, he just needs to have another Eldrazi land.
Yeah,
And what would you do if you were Thomas? It's like Noxious Revival the Bolt and just cast it again seems kind of not very good.
yeah. I think that he will cast the Noxious Revival when he draws a draw spell so that he can start going off with that Ascension, but now it doesn't seem so great. He needs something like Serum Visions or any other cantrip or even a land to cast this Cryptic Command. He doesn't know about the Stubborn Denial though, which can stop the Cryptic Command pretty
And
easily.
that could be real big breaking.
Right, so attack for 2 is gonna put the mass down to 16. Here comes another Sky Spawner, leaving the Stubborn Denial mana up. Yeah, from his body language, when he were about to tap his island and decided to tap the cavern instead in the end, uh, you would think that he potentially has the denial. He could have also just play around 3 months, so you might not be sure. But
Okay, and actually, okay. This is not what I expected, but it certainly works. But like Thomas got really punished by not finding a Hellway Fountain. Like, this position wouldn't have happened if he did.
yeah, yeah, he's just gonna get blown out by that stubborn denial, pretty bad.
Unless he plays the timely reinforcements, which are not really the thing you want to do in this turn. Okay, and Valentin Jordan, one of the best cards. Now, Stubborn Denial is online to counter anything.
And this time the Smasher is actually uncounterable because he can use the blue mana for the Smasher, given that he has two temples. So Tomasz is probably just gonna attempt to tap his creatures, and he will get blown out by the Stubborn Denial.
And if you are Valentin, you just go for it, right? If he plays Cryptic Command, you just
Yeah,
stubborn now.
I would for sure. It's gonna deal 11 damage. You prevent him from drawing, and just yeah. Problem is that Thomas doesn't even have any cantrip in his graveyard, so if he draws one, it's not even gonna make the Permanence extension active, which is what he needs if he wants to get back into this game.
Wait, this is lethal, right? I guess this. Yeah, if Thomas, if the life totals are correct and Thomas is on 9 lives,
Yeah,
that
then
is
he's just
lethal.
dead. Yep.
Yeah.
That's gonna be game. Congratulations to Valentin Schneider to extending to top 8. We are gonna see him there. Yeah, Thomas is just making sure that there is nothing he can do, but unfortunately for him, there isn't. So, it's gonna be a game.
Okay, congratulations again to Valentin, and
We are gonna be back with the top 8
okay,
in a couple minutes. So, stay tuned.
bye.
Distinguished players, pairings for 4 are being hosted. chasing.
No, jsme mohli nám tady řekl Stella. To musím skočit.
Ještě. Já zapnu tu kameru.
OK. No nechám si tady Máru, to je ten záložník. Záložník. Tohle se vykécháme, tohle se smyslé.
paint. Však se jmenuje.
Jo, Tomáš Čunderný.
Hello everyone and welcome to quarterfinals of our top 8. The players have actually split it to the top 8, so we have only one quarterfinals followed up by two semifinals and finals. The players are just gonna play for the buys, so the ones who didn't care about buys just dropped. So So Matej, what do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's really not that close. Living End is very good against Jant. Jant has like a lot of removal spells and discard spells, but the deck is just so resilient with all those cycling creatures that it's just very one-sided. I'm not saying the Jant doesn't have a chance, but will be really tough. And Karel has to get extremely lucky to just have the Uzis on time to at least disrupt Tomas's plan.
Yep, I agree completely. I'm actually surprised that more people are not choosing Living End. Seems really well positioned. I know it's not very good against Affinity because of mainly Arbon Ravager, but even there, it's not like the matchup is super bad or anything. And the matchup against Eldrazi and decks like Jan seems just super good.
Yeah, the matchup against Eldrazi is even better than the matchup against Jant.
Yep.
Just because game one, the only thing that the Eldrazi deck can do is just play Totnos here. And even it has to be like Totnos here on turn 2 if you are on a draw. If you want to do anything with the Living End.
Yeah, it's one of the few decks that actually has a really good matchup against Eldrazi. So I'm surprised that it's not more popular.
It's like Eldrazi has some matchups that people think they are very bad for it, but like Eldrazi can beat those matchups, but against Living End there is almost no chance of doing that.
Alright.
Also, know that Karel just drew Scavenging Ooze, which is the best card in the pre-board games by far. So we will see how he will choose to play it.
I mean, you can always steal games against Living End. Sometimes they won't draw the Cascade spell, but given uh, how many cycle spells they play, it's super unlikely, and they are usually able to find it even though you play one or two discard spell.
And exactly how you said, Thomas, after having no Cascade spells in his opening hand, just cycled one creature, and the Cascade spell is in his hand right now.
It's not good against Ravager because you can sacrifice all of your creatures, and then after Living End resolves, those creatures will just come back.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Now, someone asked why. Maybe he was trolling, but in case it was not, I wanted to explain it. So Jungle Weaver, one of the worst cyclers, just because it costs 2 mana, but still good enough. And when it comes into play, it's just huge.
And right now, Thomas just has to go for it, right? You cannot let Carol untap with the ooze.
It depends. Sometimes you can, like, if they don't have enough green mana, you can just like overwhelm the ooze by just
Yeah.
playing a bunch of cycle spells. But yeah, usually you just want to go for it
Yeah.
as soon as possible.
Carol actually made a pretty significant mistake right here because he should have eaten the creature with ooze on his turn.
Or just yeah, and if he didn't do that, then he should have just like untapped, and then he could have responded with like 2 more activations or something like that.
Like I hope this game shows just how bad this matchup is for Jant because Carl had a great start. He had Totsis into Confidant, which is like the was like the most powerful 2-card combo you could have in Modern, but It just doesn't do anything in this position.
Yeah, obviously Ferry Macabre helps a lot with the Visceras here and Airbound Ravager problem, that's for sure. I don't think the game is over though. Like Carol can play something like um, what is the free for called?
Free for Kalitas.
Kalitas and stop Thomas board unless he has something like Beast Within or Dismember to take care of it. Let's see, I'm gonna take a look at the Living End deck because there are some flex spots that differ from version to version. Looks like Thomas chose to play 2 Shriekmaws in those slots and 3 Beast Withins to take care of opposing creatures or permanents in general.
Also know that Thomas is playing one Kasich Wolfran, which I think is very good.
Yep.
Like that's because sometimes you have matchups where your opponent can play counter spells, so the match just drags out, and usually end up you just like hard casting your 5 drops and 6 drops,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
Kasich Wolfran. If you are playing for the fair creature game, the Kasich Wolfran is really good.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, the Living End deck. People usually think that if you're able to stop the combo, you're fine. But the Living End deck can just like Fulminate or Mage you a couple of times, and then they're just gonna start casting these giant creatures, which are obviously too bad for modern. But if you're not prepared for them, the 4/4s are just gonna kill you. So let's see if Carl has something to deal with these threats. I think I saw Toti's Liliana in his hand. I'm
Yeah,
not
and he
sure
also
about the
has
rest.
Abrupt Decay, I guess. I think
Yeah, that
so.
doesn't
Not
help a
much.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really needs something like Kalitas or Tarmogoyf to
Yeah, or even the
lock down.
Scavenging Goose isn't that bad
Yeah,
because he can just start
yep,
eating
yep,
his own creatures.
to lock down this ground. Yeah, I think he just has to like Liliana Edict to not take
Yeah.
that much damage and then hope to draw something good.
Yeah, but I don't really know what he can even draw.
Yeah, he just needs running Tarmogoyfs or whatever and hope that Thomas will not draw anything, which seems super unlikely, but it's his best shot.
Yeah, that's pretty much the reason why the discard isn't so significant. And it's like he can hope that Thomas doesn't have anything, but the deck is so resilient that it just can go like through like I don't know 7-6 cards a turn even, and then it's pretty impossible to miss.
Here is the Kasich. So now even something like Simeon's Spirit Guide becomes really threatening with the Kasich.
Okay, this is nice interaction. The Collegan's command can actually destroy the Architects of Will, but I'm not sure it will help somewhat.
Yeah, I actually didn't see this card in his hand. That gives him a little bit of chance. Not much against the Kasich, but it's at least something.
And here Thomas is Harkas Cement Spirit Guide. And also not Carol is on 4 already, so Deuce just doesn't even matter this turn.
Yeah.
So I guess we are seeing a pretty quick game 1.
Yeah, Carl doesn't even have that much green, so if he plays the Ooze, it's just gonna be a free. Not great. Yeah, he's just gonna concede. Let's look at his sideboard if there's anything that can help him steal this matchup.
Oh.
Here from Tomáš Čunderlík.
Okay, so I have here Carol's sideboard, and he has some cards. He has some cards that could be good in the matchup. Like he has one Hillspell Bomb, which is like one of the best cards in his matchup. But it's not really that good because like if he breaks the spell bomb, Thomas can just go off again. He also has 2 Inquisitions, of course, and I think like another discard spells are usually pretty good because you can hit those cascade spells.
He also has domination, which can help after the living end results. Obviously, it's not ideal, but it's better than something like an Abrabika or some other card that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, and what do you think about Carol bringing in his own Fulminator mages just to try to mess up Thomas's plan?
I think that's fine. I think that like any card that will allow you to steal game is pretty good in bad matchups like this one. Also, it's good against the part of the living end that is just trying to cast the big creatures. If they don't have the cascade spell, the Fulminator Mage is actually pretty good to deny them from doing that.
Yeah, I also think that if people who are playing Junt are worried about living end, that I don't know, a copy of like Slaughter Games could be good, or just some more Grave Hate.
Yeah. For example, Leyline of the Void is great. Obviously, living end still can like destroy it with Beast Within or whatever, but it's obviously great.
Okay, and are there any significant changes that Thomas could make in his sideboard?
Um, Looking at his sideboard, he mainly has anti-hate cards such as Ricochet Trap, Ingot Hoover, Shriek Maw, Brindlebore, and Leyline of the Void, so I don't think he's gonna bring in much. The only card that he might be interested in is the 2 copies of Shriek Maw to kill something like a Scavenging Ooze. But other than that, I don't really see anything.
Yeah, right. So this is pretty straightforward for Thomas.
Yep.
So Carol is still siding, right? Sideboarding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, living index usually tend to be pretty weak against counter spells, but this card isn't that effective against them just because they're so resilient thanks to those cycle spells. They're just going through their decks so quickly that obviously you will keep those cards in because it at least gives you a chance, but yeah, it's just not great.
And I just see right here in the chat someone is writing Junt Charm, which is really not a bad idea. Some decks usually play Junt Charm because the card is very resilient and even in the main deck. But I guess it's a concession to the Eldrazi deck against which the Junt Charm doesn't do anything or like doesn't do much.
Yep. I can definitely see playing a couple copy of Jump Charm in Cyber. Problem with Jump Charm against Living End is that it costs free mana, and if you just like keep free mana per pass, then they just won't go for it. And if you play the Jump Charm, then then they can just respond to it or whatever. It's actually way worse than it looks. I actually know Bigus personally. He used to be one of the biggest fans of Team Well Played, and I played against him at a GP. So, what's up, Bigus?
Any funny stories, Peter? So we see Carol Mulligan to 5, or sorry, Carol Mulligan to 6, and Thomas seems to be pretty happy with his hand. I didn't see it, but like the thing is, Link, and you just don't mulligan a lot because all the cards in your deck are like same almost. I
Yeah.
even think the land in the deck just doesn't place that many lands.
Yeah, the only hands that you mulligan are the hands where you have like 4 or 5 lands. But any other hand with even like a one lander is usually a keep.
Yeah, that's because you can just like from the one land, and here he is on the draw. You will just see like 5 cards
Yep.
until your second turn.
And even if you miss for a couple turns, all you need is like one more land and Simeon's Spirit Guide, and you're ready to go. So
Don't be sad that Peter beat you. He is very, very good.
anyway, it looks like Carl is deciding whether to keep his hand. Um, let's see. He has Dotsies. Looks like he might be missing
Black
Black
Source.
Source.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's rough. I think he should just mulligan. Like even if he draws the little Black Source, he will be too slow because he will be able to start casting his spells.
Okay,
Oh,
so
it was already on 6. Okay, okay.
Carl decided to keep.
Yeah, I didn't know that he was on 6 already. That makes a lot more sense.
Okay, and the Black Source is on top. So
I'd
I-
rather just go play the creature here.
yeah, I think he's confident.
Like he's not gonna go. It's unlikely that he will be able to living end for a bunch of creatures on turn 2 anyway.
Wait, what?
Quite surprised by this.
Yeah,
Maybe he doesn't
me
have a
too.
confidant and he's just waiting on the Totsies. Because he's usually able to wait on Totsies for a couple turns because they won't play the Cascade spell until like turn 3 or 4. So you want to hold on your Totsies in case they didn't have it, and
Okay, and here we have the Fulminator Mage, which we talked about, and
yep, seems
it's gonna
okay.
be really good in this situation.
Yep. It's not like backbreaking or anything, but
Yeah.
it gives him a chance to steal the game.
Also, know that I think Carol has Call Against Command in his hand. If I didn't see it miscorrectly, he can just like play this
Yeah, yeah.
Fulminator Mage and then just Call Against Command and back and do it again, but that seems kind of slow.
It might be the best thing he can do though. Yep, he decides to play the Fulminator. Let's see if he's waiting with the Fulminator after Thomas is gonna tap out, or for the upkeep to give him less information of which land is he going to destroy or anything or something like that.
I don't actually like the upkeep destroying because then Thomas can have Simeon's Spirit Guide and have the instant speed Cascade spell.
I was just saying that if Thomas doesn't do anything, then you want to do it on upkeep. If he taps out for something,
sure.
then you just do it. But it's bad to do it immediately when Thomas is just untapped. There's no reason to not do it on upkeep at that point. Yeah, and Karel sees that and does exactly that, which I like.
Also,
Seems like Thomas doesn't have too many lands. Obviously, he has a bunch of cycles, but if Karel
no,
is
I think he has like 1 more or even 2 more lands in his hand
Okay.
right now. I saw another couple language.
yeah, I think that's it though. So if Karel can like draw another Fulminator and then bring back,
And I think he actually did that. He drew Fulminator, I guess.
yeah, so yeah, he can just like try to cut him out of mana. It's the best he can do at this point. Better than just like I don't know, attack having just a 2/2 in play.
Yeah, it's exactly what he drew. And like Thomas is missing black mana.
He's just gonna destroy the tomb.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so Thomas does not have a Stroll land and does not have a black source, so we might have a game, but I don't think it will last too long.
Let's see what is Thomas working with here.
Yeah,
Unfortunately for Karl, he has two copies of Cascade spell that doesn't require black mana.
yeah, his hand is stacked right here. Also, if he draws his third land, he just plays Fulminator, and Karel being stuck on 3 lands
Yeah.
is no good thing for him.
I think he still has to take the outburst just because if he ever casts it, he's dead. And
Yep.
this way, at least, if he draws one more discard spell, he can take that.
Yeah, if he can strip both outbursts, I guess he has better chance, of course. Like, after that, he can just do the chain with Fulminators, with call against commands, and just hope that Thomas never draws his third land and just smash with Ravine or something
Yep.
like that.
Doesn't look like Karl is gonna be able to do that though.
Yeah, I still like Thomas's position a lot more.
Yeah, Karl has had the option of either Tot seizing or playing Elegance Command. I'm actually not sure that I like the Tot seize. Obviously, he was afraid of the Cascade spells, but it's not unlikely that he's gonna have to.
Yeah,
And you might as well just like hope that he's gonna not draw the land drop, and you will
okay,
just
so
continue
he took the
destroying those
Cycler,
lands.
which I like actually.
Yeah,
Like now Thomas has to draw naturally the third land, and if Karel can just put up some pressure and Thomas just never draws it,
Yep.
we could have a game.
Thomas probably
Okay.
should have cycled in response.
Yeah, I think that was a mistake on his side. Okay, he drew the third land, so
Yeah, that's probably just gonna be the game.
he just wants to get more value from the.
Well, I don't like that at all.
Me neither. Me
Like,
neither.
what if Karel just plays under Fulminator or Nihil Spellborn or anything like that? I think that he had more than enough creatures in his graveyard to be able to win him the game.
Yeah, like-
Obviously, he's still in a great spot, but
Okay, Karel drew the black swords, but I don't think that's what he needs.
yep.
Okay, Karel is going through Thomas's graveyard, but I think he's going to be really sad. Right now, the living end is just game over.
There's still a chance if Thomas doesn't play the violent outburst on upkeep. He might have boarded out one of those living ends, and he might have only 2 left. So if he draws the living end, then the outburst won't do anything. But that's very slim chance. They usually play 3 copies, but sometimes they side one out.
And Thomas is playing those 3 copies. And what is the reason actually to side out the living end?
Well, sometimes you just need to make space for more cards, and yeah, I mean, I don't really like boarding living it out, but some people just board it out because like if you don't draw both, then the third copy is usually if you don't draw both, then like having 2 copies is usually enough.
Yep.
I'm just saying that is something that Karel can hope for. And he did it on upkeep, see?
I guess he's pretty experienced with the deck, so
Yep.
yeah, he might have boarded the living end out, so he was afraid of this
Yep.
exact thing you said.
And that was a right play for sure. Obviously, the living end wasn't at the top, but like, why wouldn't you do it? So, thumbs up for Tomáš in the league.
Yeah, so I guess this match